Today we are looking at the Transformers Legacy United Metalhawk. He is the leader of the Autobot Pretenders. This is also a remold slash retool of the Kingdom Cyclonus mold. I think that this is a better version of the Cyclonus mold, but I'm also kind of biased as Metalhawk is one of my favorite Transformers. I remember when I first saw him in Legacy is when I pretty much first discovered what a Pretender was, and I thought that was just a really cool gimmick, a Transformer hiding in a shell in plain sight. Now as time's gone along, they've kind of changed that aspect to where they've merged certain Pretenders with their shells. For example, Iguanus here, and they're both purple, kind of the same. His shell is his robot mode, and the vehicle mode is the motorcycle that the original Pretender Decepticon was inside. With Metalhawk here, they've just taken the whole little mini robot and upgraded him quite a bit. There's not much left of the Pretender shell here at all. They kind of did that with Power of the Primes with Metalhawk's original Pretender shell. That's mildly disappointing. I'd like to have seen some kind of aspect of the shell, maybe even just the head being the head of the original Pretender shell. But overall, I think they did a pretty good job. They just came out with a Legacy Metalhawk not real long ago in the Evolution line, but the paint on that was subpar at best. I mean, they kind of darkened the grays here, darkened the red maybe a little bit. It's not quite as bright. And they darkened it's supposed to be gold, is more of a caramel looking color. Still wish they would have done better on that, but ultimately, pretty good looking little figure. He's got his little double blaster that, push you back up there, that the original G1 figure had. Now I wish I had that G1 figure. That G1 figure was only sold in Japan, and it is very expensive now. Might see if I can't find a knockoff. I'm not a big fan of knockoffs, but I'd like to have at least a version of the G1 Metalhawk. But this one can split apart, so you get two separate little blasters. This being done in a darker gray, where the Legacy Evolution one was in a lighter gray. You get Metalhawk's sword, which I think is a pretty neat little mold. I think it does look better in the darker gray. A little hose, from what I can tell, no reason at all, but it's cool. He's got the same articulation that Cyclonus had. Arms go up, that far, down that far, spin all the way around. Legs go about that far, forward about so far, go up, and then out. Thighs rotate, allowing him to do, as another YouTuber would put, a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. No articulation as far as the wrists go, outside of just closing in for transformation. Head spins all the way around, and his waist goes all the way around. So, I mean, for modern day, not bad, you know, along with the ankle tilt. Seems relatively standard anymore. I like him. One more 360. Before we go into his vehicle mode. Now, looking at Metalhawk in his vehicle mode, I love this jet mode. This is not your normal standard F-15 Seeker that Starscream is, or some strange off-the-wall Cybertronian jet that they like to do. Granted, still probably very loosely based off of a real jet, maybe. Kind of hard to tell. I don't know my jets very well, but I think that looks fantastic. You can put the guns on the side of his legs that become the rear of the jet here, just like the original one. Sword goes on the top. Undercarriage is fantastic. You can't just outright tell this is just an Autobot Transformer with legs shoved up and the arms on the side. Like, looking at this I mean, it's evident that's exactly what this is, but it's not quite as noticeable as most Starscreams. A lot of hollowness right here. Not a big fan of. Kind of distracts from the figure, but I mean, I guess you're probably not looking at the bottom of it very often. Nice little flight stand. Make him look real good like that. As you're probably not looking from that angle anyway. Ultimately, I still think this works better. I've never been a huge Cyclonus fan as much as I like Metalhawk. So this, for me, just works better than Cyclonus. The colors, the darkening of the plastic over the bright gray plastic, and the bright yellow they use for the chest, where this has been darkened a little bit, even though it still should be gold. I think it's probably the best Metalhawk we've gotten, and we'll probably have for a while. The biggest downfall of it would probably be the knees. I hate the giant gap in the way the knees work, but nothing's going to be perfect. But we can take a look at all of them together. So comparing this one with the Evolution version, I guess I was mildly wrong. The Evolution version does have darker blue plastic here, where everything else is darker on that one. But I hate the such bright yellow chest on this one. The light gray guns just look cheaper. But other than that, it's the exact same mold. Transformation down to everything. But like I said, bringing them all in together, I have the Titans Returns box set Metalhawk, where they actually got the gold right on his chest plate on this one. Though I believe this one was just a repaint / mild retool of Trigger Happy from Titans Return. He's supposed to be a Pretender, not a Headmaster. I just didn't much care for the fact that they'd made this one a Headmaster. And his vehicle mode does not look enough like Metalhawk, but at the time, it was the best we had for Metalhawk, so it works. And then Power of the Primes gave us this little Metalhawk, which was, gosh, I don't remember which Prime this was. Vector Prime, maybe? Alchemist Prime? These things were so hard to get out of here. Yeah. This one took a different route. This one used the original Pretender shell over using the Interbot. Now, I don't have the G1 version to compare with these ones, and I don't have the TFCC version, because I just didn't like the fact they used the human head instead of just the robotic head for the Pretender shell. I always thought the human heads looked strange. But I think how they're doing Pretenders now works really well, kind of merging like I said, the shells with the robots. Like I said, as they did with Iguanas here, his shell's now his robot mode, but he still turns into that little goofy looking motorcycle. You've got Bomb Burst, who also turns into his shell, getting rid of the original robot mode, but keeping the little jet mode that Bombshell had. Again, Skullgrin keeps the outer shell as the robot mode, but keeps the goofy little tank mode. And then somebody we've seen quite a bit of, being Bludgeon. They got rid of this guy's little robot mode a long time ago in favor of the shell as the new robot mode. Which, again, as a fan of Pretenders, I think that's the best way to go. And as most recently as our Pretender combiner, Dino King, getting rid of all of the individual robot modes in favor, or vehicle modes in favor of Dino modes that the shells were originally. But we'll see how many more Pretenders we get down the line and what they do with them. I would love to see Double Header, Octo Punch, you know, Landmine or Landfill. But we'll see what they end up doing. Well, today this was our overview of Metalhawk and a quick little summary of some Pretenders. Thank you. Well, this was my first video on my YouTube page, going over my favorite Pretender and leader of the Pretenders, Metalhawk. It's not your average review. Kind of as a good friend of mine, a channel figure seeker, says this is more just of a spotlight, kind of looking over the character, other variations of the character, a couple members of the team that he's a part of as the Pretenders. So I'm going to try to do more of these as they come, depending on how this goes. Maybe do some collabs with Figure Seeker if he's interested, and do some lives, and just kind of see where this goes. So subscribe, and let's see how it goes together.